suot ninyo doon.
Yung blazer na yan, hindi yan talaga pink, medyo orange. Ito lang talaga yung pink na pink talaga.
Surprise.
Itong kaisa-isa kong blouse.
Kalimba.
Iba prutas yun.
Yan yung narinig ko kay Eugene.
Ano? practice and we're still writing at the time. I only
Ayan, magandang hapon, magandang umaga, magandang gabi sa lahat ng ating audience sa Facebook Live. Kung nasaan man kayo, Happy Women's Month po. Welcome naman. Happy Women's Month. Yes.
Happy Women's Month.
Opo. Welcome po sa isa na naman pong episode ng Panayam sa Panitikan. No? Ang Panayam sa Panitikan ay isang effort po ng ICW para itampok ang mga usapin na napapanahon sa panitikan at sa mundo, sa ating paligid. No?
Ayan. Ngayon po ay meron tayong bagong atake sa ating panayam. Nakasanayan po natin na isa po tayong formal na lecture forum kung saan isa-isa magsasalita sa podium at babalik sa kanilang pwesto. Ngunit ngayon, sa huling araw ng Women's Month, hindi natin papalagpasin ang pagkakataon na makausap ang women writers ng UP Likhaan ICW.
Kaya naman, ang ating pamagat ngayong episode ay Lila sa Likhaan. Yun. Simulan na natin, pakilala ang ating mga panauhin.
Okay, simulan na po natin ang pagpapakilala. Una po si Miss Cristina Pantoja Hidalgo. Cristina Pantoja Hidalgo is a writer of fiction and non-fiction, a critic and a literary scholar with more than 40 published books, including 3 novels, 5 short story collections, and 16 essay collections. Some of these books have received national awards, like the Carlos Palanca Grand Prize for the novel, and several national book awards, given by the Manila Critics Circle and the National Book Development Board. She has also received the Dangal ng Lahi Award from the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards, the Gawad Balagtas from Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas. Hidalgo is credited with being a pioneer writer and scholar of creative nonfiction, particularly travel writing. And as a critic, she is best known for her groundbreaking work in the study of the literary memoir and fiction by Filipino women. Hidalgo is the director of the UST Center for Creative Writing and Literary Studies. She has served as director of the UST Publishing House, the UP Press, and the UP Creative Writing Center, as well as the Vice President for Public Affairs of the UP system. She continues to teach graduate courses in creative writing and literature at UST and UP. She has a PhD in comparative literature from UP, an MA in English literature from UST, and a PhD magna cum laude from UST. Everyone, let's welcome Ma'am G.
Yes! Bongga naman si Ma'am G.
Yes.
Ngayon ko lang nalaman na siya ay magna cum laude. Bongga. Bongga po, Ma'am G.
Sorry.
Carry lang po yun, Ma'am. Ako nga po.
Magnanakaw.
Magnanakaw. Okay, ipapakilala ko na po ang ating pangalawang panauhin. Si Ma'am Luna Sikat Cleto. Si Luna Sikat Cleto ay autor ng mga nobelang Makinilyang Altar at Mga Prodigal. Siya rin ay may koleksyon ng dula at sanaysay, Ang Huni at Pakpak, at koleksyon ng mga tula na Bago Mo Ako Ay Palawan. Noong 2019, kinilala ng Umpil ang kanyang mga nasulat na katha sa Filipino at ginawaran ng Gawad Pambansang Alagad ni Balagtas para rito. Bongga. Sa taon ding iyon, nilathala ang bilingual edition ng Bago Mo Ako Ay Palaot sa Aleman bilang Offenesmere ng edition Tinka Tinka sa Winter Thur, Switzerland. Kinilala ang naturang koleksyon bilang isa sa mahusay na akdang panitikan sa Litprom 2024. Bukod sa panulat, si Luna ay guro ng malikhaing pagsulat at panitikan sa UP Diliman. At siya rin ay faculty advisor ng organization namin, ang The UP Repertory Company. Para natin si Ma'am Luna.
And last but not the least, ang pinakabagong miyembro ng UP ICW Fellows, si Ma'am Will P. Ortiz. Nagtuturo si Will P. Ortiz sa Departamento ng Filipino at Panitikan ng Pilipinas, UP Diliman, sa larangan ng malikhaing pagsulat. Nanalo ang bugtong ng buwan at iba pang kwento ng Madrigal Gonzalez Best First Book Award, mga maikling kwento ukol sa batang manggagawa. Nanalo na rin siya sa Palanca Memorial Awards. Nakatutok sa tinatawag niyang kagilagilalas na realismong bayan ang kanyang mga panulat, tulad ng Ang Pababalik ni Maria Makiling, unang aklat, si Maria Makiling at ang Alamat ng Animas Anya, ikalawang aklat. Lumabas na ang ikatlong serye ng nobela na may pamagat na Ang Lihim ng Lagusang Dalim, 2024. Ilalabas rin ng UP Press ang huling nobela ng serye ng... Ay, lumabas na. Inilabas na.
May update.
Inilabas na ng UP Press ang huling nobela ng serye ng Maria Makiling, si Maria Makiling sa Sinapupunan ng Hukluban. Ngayong Marso 2025, Happy Women's Month.
Yes.
Bukod sa paglikha ng mga kakaibang mundo, nakatutok ang kanyang mga panulat sa kasaysayan at kababaihan, lalong-lalo na ang mga batang babae o girl child. Karaniwan niyang protagonista ang babae at batang babae sa kanyang panulat, lalo na ang isinasalaylayan. Malay ang kanyang mga kwento sa pagkakaroon ng katwiran at pagkakapantay sa larangan ng iba't ibang hugis ng kasarian. Everyone, si Ma'am Will.
Hindi ko pala kami nagpakilala. No? So, muli ako po si Jasper Villasis, isa pong PRA sa Likhaan Institute of Creative Writing.
Ako rin po si PB Maranya, isa ding PRA, Project Research Assistant sa Likhaan UPIC London.
Maraming na bagay. Magaganda lang po kami.
Hindi masyado.
Sige, para simulan po ang ating episodyo ngayon. Ano ang ating unang prompt question para sa kanila?
Bilang napakilala na natin sila sa kanilang mga larangan at tagumpay, bibigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon na ipakilala ang sarili nila sa ibang paraan. Ang tanong namin ay,
Dun, dun, dun.
kung meron po kayong piyesa na sa tingin nyo, mapapakilala kayo bilang manunulat, ano ito at bakit?
Hala. Simulan po natin kay Ma'am Jean dahil siya ang pinakamalapit sa atin.
Yes!
It was always my dream to write fiction and to be a novelist. But as it turned out, when I first started writing, it was essays and feature articles, no? But now, if you ask me which one is my favorite child, among all the books I've written, I think it would be a tie between the collection of short stories, Tales for a Rainy Night, which are what I call modern fairy tales, and my second novel, which is Recuerdo. Yun.
Bongga. Naalala ko yung Tales for a Rainy Night. Tinranslate siya ni Sir Chuck Berry at tinanghal sa isang ganap episode sa UPIC.
Oo, yung isang story doon, ano? Oo. Yeah, I'm very grateful about that. And very grateful that it was translated. Kasi yun ang tingin kong weakness ko as a writer. I don't write in Filipino, sadly. But the fact that Chuck Berry translated those 4 books is very, very big favor to me, I feel. Sana matranslate din niya yung Recuerdo.
Sir Chuck Berry, baka naman.
Mahirap, masyadong mahaba, sabi niya. Tsaka masyadong maraming nouns. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Ano daw nouns?
Sir Chuck Berry, kung nanonood ka, ano daw ibig sabihin sa madaming na?
Maraming salamat po,
Thank you po,
Ma'am
Ma'am
Jean.
Jean. Ang susunod po, si Ma'am Will dahil siya ang pinakamalayo sa
Iniisip ko nga pero may bago akong proyekto na ang pamagat ay Grace Park. Hindi siya Koreana. Koreana. Grace Park. Lumaki kasi ako sa Caloocan. Grace Park. Yung So, feeling ko, ito yung... Kasi yung Maria Makiling na mga tsaka yung mga maiikling kwento ng mga batang manggagawa. Medyo malayo yun dun sa danas ko. Tapos itong outline pa lang talaga yung ginagawa. Pero feeling ko, ito yun, no, na malapit siya talaga sa akin. Parang hindi ako pinapatulog nung gusto ko siyang gawin. Na ano yung mga alaala noong panahon ng 70s at 80s. Gusto ko yun balikan. Tapos may yung political awakening nung character doon sa kwento. Pero itong ano din, itong lalabas din na nobela, na young adult din, si Mitos, ay hindi kasi gustong-gusto ko kasi ang fantasy. Pero ang ano din ng, feeling ko lang feeling ko. Pero
Okay lang po yan, ma'am.
yung pagtingin din ng academe, kung di realist yung mode ng pagsusulat mo, hindi siya ganong papansinin at hindi siya ganong seryoso. May ganun.
Do you think that's still the case?
May ganun akong feeling, ma'am.
Kasi of course, I cannot speak for writing in Filipino, no? But the writing, the fiction in English, all the young writers, that's their preferred genre. So I don't think we can look down on it anymore if we ever did. I think you're correct that in the beginning, the academe tended to look down on non-realist writing. So itong Tales for a Rainy Night, when I first submitted that to the magazines, kasi fairy tales are also fantasy, I submitted that to Greg Brillantes, no? He was with the Free Press at the time. Sabi niya, wala naman, tinanggap naman niya. And then I submitted another one, tinanggap ulit niya. Pero when I ran into him one night, sabi niya, ayaw mo bang bumalik sa realist writing? So I took that as a sign that hindi academe yun, media. Pero sa umpisa may ganon. Pero ngayon parang hindi na.
Parang feeling ko,
Meron pa rin.
nag-boom talaga ang fantasy nung ng millennium. J.K. Rowling, Twilight series, and tapos ang dami nang nagsunuran na
Pero popular,
Lord of the Rings, binalik nila ulit. Pero pag, ewan ko, baka feeling ko lang yun, hindi ko pa talaga tinitignan or dahil babae akong writer. May feeling pa rin ako na ganun, ma'am, na na hindi, lalo na, minsan pinipili ko na, tinitignan ko kung sino yung editor. Kung lalaki, minsan hindi na ako
ibibigay.
Kasi alam ko na napag-usapan din namin to ng mga estudyante ko na pag medyo dun sa medyo emotional, pero sa mga babae, hindi talaga siya emotional.
Right.
Talaga, pambabae yan. Parang ganun relegated. Naalala ko yung isang novel, yung novel ni Ma'am Luna. Pinag-usapan namin yung Makinili ang Altar. Sabi ng estudyante kong lalaki, na ang husay-husay na magsulat. Sabi niya, hindi ko maintindihan, ma'am, yung ending nung Makinili ang Altar. Sabi ko, bakit? Sabi niya, bakit yung protagonist, iiwan niya yung pagsusulat? Sabi ko, hindi yun ganon, no? So, ini-explain ko na yung Makinilyang Altar sa pagbasa ko ay simbolo ng patriarkiya. At yun yung iniiwan niya dun sa nobela. Sabi niya, di ko talaga makuha, ma'am. So, may ibang basa. Kasi siyempre may ibang danas, may ibang basa dun sa na ko yun so yun, no? Pero ko yun, yun talaga yung gusto kong genre. Dahil na rin siguro sa lola ko sa tatay. No, na isang manggagamot, babaylan, no, na nakasanayan ko nung paglaki ko na nakikita ko siya na nanggagamot ng mga tao, tapos pinapatayo niya yung itlog. Nakikita ko na nakikita ko din yung sa panggagamot niya, gumagamit siya ng dahon ng marijuana.
Parang bongga yun.
Tapos, na hindi ko alam noon, tapos nung lumaki na lang ako, parang, bakit na-demonize na ngayon yung yung ganun pa. Pero, ginagamit niya sa panggagamot yung na yun. So, sabi ko, may ibang mundo talaga na na gusto kong isulat doon sa ko. Pero hindi ko pa nasulat yung ganun talaga na Pero alam naman din nila na bawal kasi tinatago, parang may mga ibang halaman, tapos nasa loob siya yung napapaliwanag niya sa akin kung bakit ganun. Pero yung pagtingin niya talaga, hindi dapat kasi sabi niya lahat ng halaman ay may merong angkin na elemento para dun sa panggagamot. Pero ayun. Pero yun lang, parang na ko yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Jing, hirap mamili. Kasi lahat nung ginawa mo malapit dun sa loob mo yung lahat ng characters na nandoon. So, hindi sa magiging paborito ko yung Grace Park. Pero parang siguro dahil sa ngayon, yun yung laman ng utak ko.
Sige po. At dahil dyan, may soft launch na po ang aabangan nating aklat ni Ma'am Will. Muli, Grace Park.
Opo,
Grace Park po siya.
Doon po siya makikilala.
Yes.
Kumbaga.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Will. At syempre, ang susunod ay si Ma'am Luna dahil wala na tayong ibang tatapos siya na lang.
Yes.
Ma'am Luna.
Pasasalamat na inimbitahan nyo kami dito at siguro kanina ko pa iniisip, may paborito ba ako? Parang wala. Kasi yung mga akdang yun ako at that particular time. So, ang reference point ko na lang siguro ng paboritong akda, yung katatapos ko lang. Yung 3 proposisyon ng hangin na isang matagal ng akda na inipon ko nung naging creative writing teacher ako. At nasa isang art school ako. Tapos, marami akong gustong sabihin dun sa work na yun. Yung tungkol sa elitism ng mga artists. Tapos, parang dun sa loob ng may short story doon na yun ang title. 3 proposisyon ng hangin. And naglaro ako doon, binasag ko na yung realist frame ng time. Tapos parang ginawa kong kwela yung dialogue kasi playwright ako. Pero ang dami ko pang gustong gawin na hindi ko pa nailalabas na sana sa ibang panahon ay magawa ko. Bukod dun sa 3 proposisyon ng hangin, I'm so proud of this poetry collection which was published in Switzerland. Kasi hindi lang dahil na nabasa ito ng ibang mga hindi ko kalahi. Pero I was able to get in touch with other Filipinos from Switzerland na parang may longing and nostalgia pala sila sa Pilipinas. And when I read yung reunion sa Tandang Sora, one lady from the audience approached me and told me, for the first time, may narinig ako na isang tula na sinasabi kung ano ang matagal ko nang nararamdaman sa reunion ng mga pamilya. So, nalarawan ko daw dun sa tula, yung pakiramdam. And I think, yun yung dapat na inaabangan kapag sumusulat.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Luna. Bongga pala si Ma'am Luna.
Alam na natin yan dati.
Yes, of course. Muli, shoutout po pala kay Mr. Jerome Nicolas de la Peña at si CL Balagoza at si Romel Espejo na nanonood po ngayon sa ating Facebook Live.
Salamat po sa ating viewers. Sana po tapusin nyo ito.
Yes.
Parang awa nyo.
Yun naman yung ating challenge palagi.
Yes.
Anyway, move forward tayo sa ating set of questions.
Yes. Ngayon pong Women's Month, syempre, sineselebrate natin ang mga tagumpay ng kababaihan. Ngunit, i-recognize din natin na madaming balakid sa isang journey ng manunulat ng babae. Kaya, ang una po naming tanong ay, what challenges, if any, have you faced as a woman writer in a traditionally male-dominated literary world?
Parang natahimik
Bigat.
Bigat agad. Siguro, paikutin natin.
May I go first?
Sige go, ma'am.
Naging huli.
Okay po.
I think we must address the fact na kahit sa literary world ay may bullying. At bullying. Na parang pinipilit kang ikahon sa isang lugar. At it is conveyed very subtly by some writers. And I will not mention them. They know who they are. And ang tingin ko kasi doon, Ma'am Jean, you're not one of them. Dapat bukas yung isip natin dun sa pinipili nating paksa, pinipili nating boses, pinipili nating panigan, pinipili nating kausapin sa ating mga sinusulat. So, rather than going back to that specific challenge that I experienced as a young writer, a young woman then, kasama dun yung hindi ko pa masyadong kilala yung sarili ko. And I didn't know how to fight back nung bata ako. And had I known better, at kung mas articulate lang ako ng panahon yun, at mas siguro emotionally intelligent, baka mas nahawakan ko siya ng mas mabuti. Pero no regrets because those challenges formed my own self, the way I am right now. So nagpapasalamat pa nga ako doon.
Paano yung fighting back mo?
Fighting back, well, squarely, sinasabi ko sa kanila, I don't agree. Or, I think that's sexist. Or, I think that's ageist. Sinasabi ko na to. Dati, hindi ko sinasabi. Halimbawa, magpapapicture, tapos sasabihin na, teacher namin siyang lahat. Mas parang pinapahiya dahil ikaw yung pinakamatanda. Or, sinasmart shame ka sa isang pagtitipon, which I hate. Yung parang, ano ngayon kung nabasa ko yun, ano ngayon kung alam ko yun. Parang mo yan, kawalan mo yan kasi hindi mo yan alam. So, parang ngayon, mas na ako doon, kaya ko na siyang harapin.
Kailangan naman din talaga maging vocal sa mga ganitong mga injustices.
Injustice.
Kailangan ko rin matutunan yun. Ayun,
Kaya mo naman.
Yes. Maraming salamat po, ma'am. Ang susunod ay?
Ako, siguro napahapyawan ko na kanina, parang tinanong sa akin dati, di ba nakakapag-publish ka naman? Oo, pero sabi ko, hindi mo naman alam kung gaano karami yung na-reject. So may pa rin dun sa, yung may nare-realize ko naman yung sinasabi ng ibang mga ng mga reviewers na ito yung mali, okay, nakukuha ko yung ganung mga sinasabi. Pero hindi ko nakukuha kung yung, alam mo yun, tutulugan mo yung manuskrito gagawin mo yung manuscript ng 1 taon, halimbawa. Tapos, babalikan mo after 3 to 5 months. Kasi mag-iiba yung perspective mo pag binasa mo uli yung gawa mo. Makikita mo yung part na, ang corny nito, tanggalin ko to. O, papalitan ko ng ganito. Magdadagdag ako ng 1 chapter, ganyan. Tapos, pinabasa mo pa sa iba. No, na yung pagtingin sa tingin mo ay patas yung pagbasa doon sa manuscript. Tapos pa rin. Mare-reject pa rin. Sobrang ako doon sa mga ganung klase ng parang sabi ko alam ko na yung nito, tone niya ay babae. May ganun akong pagtingin. Kasi kung alam ko yung mga nare-reject na manuscript na medyo mabilisan dahil may deadline. At alam ko rin yung mga manuscript na pinagbuhusan mo ng panahon, kininis mo, pinabasa mo sa iba, pero nung ni-reject pa rin. So, yun alam ko talaga na ang may problema yung reader, hindi ako.
Tama.
So, yung ganon. Pero minsan, pinapabayaan ko siya. Pero minsan, sinasagot ko word for word lahat ng sinasabi ng referee. No, lahat ng punto niya, pag-iisipan mo yon na tapos babalik ko. Ang nakakainis, hindi sumasagot yung mga referee. Dahil sa tingin nila, hindi ko talaga type magawa ko dun sa Pero, yun nga, yung process din ng refereeing din kasi, dapat yung mga referees, wag din, nagre-referee din ako. So, kapag ganon, ang tinitignan ko talaga, yung kalidad nung gawa. No? Yung literary features nitong na to. Tapos, pag sexist, problemado ako doon. Yun yung sinasabi ko. pero ipapasa ko pa rin yun kung magagawan yun ng paraan. Pero minsan kasi dahil lang dun sa paksa, nare-reject ka na kagad. So, sa tingin ko, problematic pa rin yung refereeing process ng natin, ng academe. In general, hindi hindi lang institution natin, kung hindi buong Pilipinas siguro, mga institution ng education.
Totoo. Ma'am G?
You know, while listening to them, I'm like, parang they're talking about a different world. Kasi I have to say, I have not experienced rejection. I don't know, hindi naman, and that's too sweeping. Some of the stories that I submitted to magazines like the Free Press and the Graphic were rejected. And those, during my time, you never heard from them. You submitted and then you didn't hear from the editors for a long time. So you either gave up, meaning to say you assumed they had thrown it away, or you suddenly saw it published in the Free Press. So the writers, the editors at that time, Nick Joaquin was the editor of the Free Press, Greg Brillantes. These people, they never bothered to communicate with you. So that's the way it was done. I don't know about any referees, whether they had referees or not. I don't think this was a practice. And I started writing when I was in college, no? Actually in high school, but I'm not counting that because those were essays. But they were published in magazines, also national magazines. But the short stories, I had a hard time in the beginning. But it's only when, kasi wala pa namang literary journals, academic journals noon, no? And I was not in academe, so I didn't try to publish there. By the time that I tried publishing in journals, parang iba yung experience ko kasi I'm older than these two young women here. So,
Young women? Oh my God!
Oo, na ibang generation yata. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't know whether, anyway, my feeling is, the women who had to fight the battles were the women older than myself. For example, my own mother, who was a journalist, as I think I told you before we started this, her own family was very much against her working for a newspaper because that meant that, newspapers were not considered respectable enough because she would be working with men. And that they thought was not a good idea. No? So, also, if you were a woman and you applied to one of the major newspapers, you got assigned the soft beats, meaning to say health, fashion, food, that sort of thing, no? Or the women's section. The men got the police beats and the politics and so on. So that happened during their time. When I started writing for the papers, this had already changed to a certain extent because there were women who had broken that barrier already, no? One of them was Yaimar King. I don't know if you know.
Yes.
Yeah, you know about her. Yeah, she broke those barriers. So Carmen Guerrero Nakpil, Krima Pulutan Tuvera, no? They were the older women and they fought those battles, no? So I think I was lucky in that sense. No? So journalism, no problem. And then I never experienced being told by any editor that, I don't like your material, I don't like your subject, I'm rejecting this. That never happened, except I mentioned to you Greg Brillantes when I submitted Modern Fairy Tales. He did not reject them outright, he published them. But he then later asked me, wouldn't you like to go back to writing realist stories? So I saw that his bias was for realist stories. And I learned also that joining the Palanca or any other kind of contest, if I was submitting fairy tales, they wouldn't win. So my stories that won were realist stories, no? So hindi ko alam yung ibang klaseng mga fantasy, yung mga superheroes, ganyan na pinapublish ng mga lalaki, kung natatanggap yun, no? Hindi ko alam. My own experience was that. But I think I was lucky in a way. I don't know, maybe baka mga political yung mga sinusulat ninyo, so there was animosity toward it. But was that an animosity directed at you as women? Or was it directed against writers from the left? Iba kasing klaseng prejudice yun, ano? Ako naman, I did not write political fiction. So I didn't experience that kind of prejudice or bias, no? Yung mga kwento kong mga love story, ganyan. Mga romantic, mga, may class element din pero hindi outward, no? I experienced censorship, of course, when martial law was declared. And then they closed down all the newspapers and magazines, and then I got fired from the university where I was teaching. Not because I was a woman, though, but because of the politics. No? So I have not experienced direct bias from men because I was a woman in the literary world. So, ewan ko kung baka naman masyado akong insensitive at hindi ko nararamdaman kung merong ganyang bias, pero hindi ko talaga masyadong nakikita yun in my own experience.
Pero I experienced na when I wrote a play about incest and there's may lesbian character na. And I had to explain why
You wrote about
why
the
I wrote
lesbian?
about it. And that was tough kasi parang ang hirap lang ang sumulat ng dula. Ipapaliwanag ko pa.
Yeah.
So, dumaan ako kay Rene Villanueva. Tapos pumasa naman yung akda na yon sa Telon Playwrights Circle. Pero yung may mga matagal na to, sinasabi yung mga kaibigan na anti-women o na nung sinulat mo naman, hindi mo naman inisip yun. Gusto mo naman sulatin. Pero,
Anti-women daw yung sinusulat.
meron akong isang nasulat, ma'am, na ang sabi pa nga, dahil may line doon na dahil ayaw manganak nung isang tauhan at na-imagine niya na balang araw in the future, kapag nanganak na ang babae, pwede nang i-transport yung bata sa katawan ng baboy, pagkatapos pwede mo nang ilongganisa yung baboy. Parang gano'n. May linyang gano'n. Sinabi ko naman yun doon sa play, parang lang, banter ito ng dalawang tauhan. It's not me. And perhaps siguro driven din yun ng parang silent rage ko na hindi kasi ma'am siniseryoso rin talaga na pagka ganun yung mga ideas ng mga nagsusulat.
Ako, this is parang the kind of bias I experienced was actually kind of like, why don't you write more political things? Why are you always writing about kaburgisan? Ako naman, but I am burgis eh. I mean, if you come from a particular class, you cannot invent an experience that it was not your own, So, tapos ganun ang that's kind of criticism I got for my fiction actually. Is my characters were always bourgeois. I did not make the maids in my stories speak
In English.
But I understood the criticism was saying it was really that my writing was too limited. It was limited to a certain class of people. My reason for that is that's the class I knew. But it is, tinatanggap ko yung criticism na you were not able to go outside of your class and write about experiences which more people might have been able to identify with. That I know. Pero ayoko yung bakit kailangan may love story. Bakit? Yun ang gusto ko isulat. Diba? But there was parang may implied doon na kung love, that's not as important as nation.
Yun ang ibig
Baka naman totoo din yun, nation is more important than the love of an ordinary man and woman. Pero you shouldn't be imposing what is your preference. No? Yun, anyway. Yun.
Tama po.
Naalala ko
Sige
lang.
po.
Naging teacher ko kasi si LQS, Lilia Mendoza Santiago. Tapos kunikwento niya sa klase namin yung short story niyang Ang Manggagamot ng Salay-Salay. At dun sa kwento, NPA yung isang character, tapos yung isang character naman ay militar. Ang kritisismo daw sa kanya, bakit mo ginawang magkapatid? Yung
Bakit ginawang magkapatid?
magkapatid itong dalawang to, na sa tingin niya, sabi niya nung sa klase namin, sasabihin kaya yun sa akin kung lalaki ako. May ganun na so parang
What was the objection to the magkapatid? Ano yung problema
parang
doon?
problematic daw politically.
Na
Na
magkapatid.
magkapatid yung ginawang left at right na
Pero
na
nangyayari
traditionally
naman yun sa buhay.
parang nangyayari siya na at saka gusto ko yung yung kwento na yun yata yung pinakagusto kong kwento ni Ma'am
Lilia.
Elquintes na short story niya na
Tsaka nangyayari naman po talaga.
Nangyayari.
Kasi siya,
At parang andun yung yung bigat na nasa ganito silang sitwasyon tapos ganun sila kalapit sa isa't isa.
Kasama dun sa kwento niya yung Pinapinas-san ka pupunta. Dun sa Pinapinas-san ka pupunta, parang may dalawang version. Yung isang version, yun yung tinanggal yung sex scenes.
Kay Fanny Garcia yan.
Oo, kay Fanny Garcia. Tapos, yung isang...
Sino nagtanggal?
Si Fanny
Oo, kasi
si Fanny
sinabihan.
Sinabihan siyang
bakit
tanggalin.
ganon? Oo, parang ganon, ma'am. Sinabihan.
Self-censorship siya.
Hindi, may nagsabi daw. Parang pinuna. Parang pinuna talaga. Na bakit may sex scenes dyan? Yung political na agenda, lumabnaw. Parang ganon yung yung pagtingin doon sa na wala naman ganong pagtingin si Fanny Garcia doon sa
There was an anthology called Passion Fruit. Filipino women write the erotic.
Forbidden
That's
fruit.
the title of it, huh?
Forbidden fruit.
Forbidden fruit pala, hindi passion fruit. Forbidden fruit.
pwede naman ba yung passionate din naman?
Oh, at maraming contradictions. Kasi ako, I thought, sige nga, I will try to write erotica. So, nagsulat na ako. And then, I did not submit it. Another self-censorship. I'll tell you the reason. I was trying to imagine a scenario where my husband would be attending a meeting of the Rotary Club, let us say, to which he belonged. And some friend of his would walk up and say to him, "Uy, yung asawa mo pala, yung misis mo pala, sexy, ano?
na.
Nagsusulat ng ganito." And I thought, ay, ayoko yata, no? So that's myself. That's my own pagka-conservative because of the generation that I belong to. But that particular book, hindi naman nagustuhan ng mga lalaki. Mga kaibigan naming lalaki. I think those stories were in English, no? The men were like, erotic ba yan? Hindi naman erotic yan eh.
Hindi nila naiintindihan. You don't understand.
Obviously, yung concept ng mga matatapag na babae na sumali doon, their concept of what is erotic is different from what men's concept of the erotic is. I think it was all more indirect. Kasi ang gaganda, ako nagandahan ako dun sa mga nabasa ko. Tsaka hindi siya bastos, hindi siya vulgar. Pero para sa mga lalaki, hindi yan erotic. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Ayun. So, unang tanong pa lang.
Hindi natin makukover.
Bago tayo sumunod sa susunod na katanungan po, no? Shoutout muna tayo daw sa ating mga viewers ulit. Si JCVP at syempre, si Kenneth Guda, our forever idol. Yun. Nanonood din si Pangga Jen, si Clara Espinido at si Juan Paulo Miguel. Ayun.
Hello po.
Hello po, mabuhay po kayo.
Mag-stay po tayo hanggang sa dulo. Happy Women's Month.
Yes.
Naging fellow natin sa workshop si Kenneth
Ayun po, staff din po siya.
Daddy po natin siyang staff.
Journalist niya.
Ayan, babagitin ko na po ang susunod na katanungan. Have you ever felt pressure to write from a feminist perspective? Or do you prefer to write outside of gendered expectations?
Sino?
Ma'am G.
I have to be frank that I don't think about that. Like, I just assume that because I'm a woman, whenever I write, it will be about women and what the issues that are important to us, the problems that we face, and so on. I don't force myself to write about women and in a particular way about women. I just write the way I think and the way I feel. I have not received naman criticism saying that what I produce is anti-feminist. Although sometimes, nakakatawa ang mga critics ko minsan. Itong critic na ito, estudyante ko pa, ha? Oo. Ini-insist na ako when I teach literature classes, I never assign my own work. But this particular girl, lady, woman, insisted on reporting on my one of my stories. And then she, when she was critiquing it, she said something like this, itong storyang ito, okay naman siya. Meron naman siyang kamulatan ng konti.
Sinabi na yun, ha?
Oo, sinabi niya. So I'm like, parang, am I supposed to be flattered by this or am I supposed to be insulted? Parang meron namang kamulatan, hindi ba ganyan? Oo, sige. So sabi ko, after that, thank you very much for your report. No, but now you know, class, why I do not want to discuss my own stories in my class. So anyway, there was a very subtle put down, I think, in that remark, no? Which means that she had an expectation of how a woman should write.
Yes.
And somehow I didn't meet it, and so that was it. Yun. But it's par for the course. And
Can
you
relate
let you
to that,
write.
ma'am.
Huh?
Nakaka-relate ako dyan kasi nung una ako naging fellow ng UP National Writers Workshop, bago pa ito naging mid-career, yung mga for beginners.
For beginners.
Yung play ko, yun nga yung kinukwento ko kanina, nag-away-away na sila tungkol dun sa dula. Tapos, tamang-tama.
Yung panel nag-away.
Nag-away-away sila na kulang daw to ng tenderness, napaka-anti-woman. Ako naman parang, ano ba? So, paglabas ko nung Kalayaan Hall, sino ang makakasalubong ko? Si Grace Monte de Ramos and Marge Evasco, who took me aside and told me, Luna, your play is interesting, but I wish you would explore why it is problematic. Tapos, talagang parang kumbaga sinasabi nila sa akin, pag-isipan mo kung bakit ganyan yung behavior ng character dun sa isa. Kasi talagang, I ended the play in a manner na parang insultuhan siya. Humiliation galore yung parang dulo ng dula. At nung tumanda na ako at after some time ko lang na-realize na kaya pala nila ako linapitan. Kumbaga, yung feminism at saka yung writing about women, hindi naman automatic that when you write about women, magkaagapay sila. Parang it took some learning for me and time bago ko naintindihan yung sinabi ni na Marge at saka ni Grace Monte de Ramos sa akin noon. And whenever I see them, especially Ma'am Marge, nagpapasalamat ako ng tahimik na sinabi nila sa akin.
But do you think that any woman has the right to say that her feminism is better than yours?
Hindi yan, ma'am, kundi sa parang challenge ka rin nila na pag-isipan mo kung kaya mong gumawa ng isang dula na mas mulat at saka mas mabait yung isang yung pagtrato ng isang babae sa kapwa niya babae. Wala pagbata ka kasi parang bukod sa mayabang, parang wala akong pakialam nung panahon na yun.
I think one writes kasi to tell the truth as one sees it.
Yes.
Oo. So that's the way you see life. That's the way you see women. But you're right that as you get older, you change your mind to a certain extent.
Yes.
You see the other sides.
Sa akin parang yung bugso talaga. Kasi ang process ko noon, bugso muna ng damdamin. Tapos tsaka ko pinag-iisipan yung poetics. Dahil sinasabi sa akin na dapat ako magsulat ng poetics.
Tama.
Diba?
No.
Pero, na-realize ko habang tumatanda ako na na yun talaga yung gusto ko. Girl child na yun yung gusto kong sulatin. At siya, na parang sinupress siya ng utak ko kasi na may danas ako nung 12 ako na umuwi ako from school at yung inuuwian kong village ay konti pa lang ang houses na and tapos tanghali yon papunta ako ng alauna na klase. I was 12. No, tapos may kotse na nasa likuran ko na sumasabay sa akin. Walang tao dun sa Tapos, tinanong ako kung gusto ko sumakay na kasi madadaanan nila yung school ko kasi naka-uniform. Di ba taga-ganyan? Di ba sabi Tapos parang sasakay na ako kasi mainit eh. Nakapayong lang ako, gano'n na ano. Tapos, nung sasakay na ako at binuksan na yung door para sa akin, teka muna, parang na-realize ko, ba't ako sasakay? Hindi ko naman ito kilala.
Hindi mo naman siya kilala.
Oo. 4 silang lalaki na nandun sa loob ng sasakyan. Tapos, kinabahan na ako. Tapos, yung guardhouse, natatanaw ko na, pero layo-layo ng pagtingin ko. Pero tumakbo talaga ako. Pero, feeling ko sumisigaw ako, pero ano lang, mukhang
Yung
mahina,
mountain,
pero yun, no? Ngayong adult ako, sabi ko, teka muna, kaya pala ako nagsusulat tungkol sa girl child. Kasi alam ko yung vulnerability ng mga batang babae. No, ngayon ko lang yun, So, aware ako ngayon na pag nagsulat ako tungkol sa babae at tungkol dun sa girl child. Tsaka, ang daming, kasi,
buti nakinig ka sa gut.
oo, yung gut instinct ng, hindi ko to kilala, ba't ako sasakay? But, tsaka yung boses na, ang bait-bait, no, so yun, no, so ngayon, malay na malay ako na nagsusulat ako para sa batang babae at saka sa kababaihan in general.
Sa atin pong susunod na tanong, dahil paubos na ang ating oras.
Yes.
Ang daldal na.
Yes. Ang ilan po sa pinaghandaan nating tanong ay ipagsasama ko na. How do you approach the portrayal of women characters in your writing? Interesting din po ito kay Ma'am Jean bilang writer of creative nonfiction because these women are real people. And how do you feel a sense of responsibility to present them in a particular way? Siguro idugtong na din po natin dito, especially in this the industry of literature and publishing that is often criticized for its lack of diversity.
Okay.
Sige,
Ikaw na.
Ano nga ba uling tanong? Portrayal of characters?
Yes.
As I've said, playwright ako. Tapos, ang mahalaga sa akin na masilip ko yung pagkatao ng tauhan bago ko siya masulat. In a play that I'm working on, it's about Petra Maclean, a woman activist from Bontoc province. Na wala akong kaalam-alam na naging challenging sa akin na basahin yung kanilang kultura sa Cordillera. Pero it took a video, a film production, bago ko nasabi sa sarili ko na kaya kong pasukin yung character niya. I think among us, mahalaga yung ability namin to be in the character and to parang soak in their world. So ang additional layer ng challenge doon sa gawa ng women character na hindi mo alam, bigla na lang alam mo pala kasi natuklasan mo kung sino siya. Si Petra Maclean halimbawa, pinigilan siya na mag-aral ng kanyang nanay. Mahabang storya at hindi ko na ikukwento kung bakit, pero walang pad paper, walang lapis, naglalakad siya sa Bontoc Mountain Province para lang pumasok sa eskwela. May ulo siya, pero matalino siya. Pero hindi siya binibigyan ng karapatan para makapag-aral. At sa akin, napaka-resonant nun. Hindi naman dahil ginanon ako ng mga magulang ko. Pero naramdaman ko yung parang it's the adults who are in charge of you. At wala kang magawa kasi bata ka lang. So, nung napasok ko yung character ni Petra, pumasok na ng natural yung mga iba-ibang boses. So, na-handle ko na, I think, yung character. So, ulitin ko yung sa pagsagot dun sa women characters, it is important na makilala mo sila as humans. Tapos, once you are immersed in the way they see the world, parang challenge to sa empathy mo eh. And you draw from your own experience, pero parang umaarte ka rin, parang kang isang aktor na dinalagyan mo lang to ng layer, pero ikaw talaga yon na nagsasalita dun sa line. Yun.
Sa akin, aware ako na I would always break stereotypes dun sa mga character kong babae. Aware din ako na kung may antagonist na babae, sa kapwa babae, in the end, papaliwanag ko kung bakit ganun. At hindi ko sila pagsasabunutin. Hindi sila dapat magsabunot. Aware ako dun sa pagbasag ng mga ganong uri ng character dun sa mga yun.
Ma'am Jean.
Yeah, you know, I just try to write what I truly understand about each character. No? When I create a character, I'm interested in that character. I empathize with her, and I try to present that character in the best way that I can. Is she a feminist or not? Sometimes she might be, sometimes she may not. I feel that when you write a story, it's not necessary that every single woman there should have the right political orientation, no? Because you're writing about reality. And there are actually women who are not, who do not fit that description. What I am careful about is not to convey the idea that if you're like that, you cannot change.
Right.
Or that you're doomed for life kasi ganun ka, no? But the fact is,
Label ka na.
such women exist. And if we were just to exclude them, that doesn't tell the truth about the society in which we live in. No? But I do, and that aside, I do try, I think, to convey that some of my characters, anyway, are strong women. And are women who have triumphed against all or odds. You mentioned the fact that I write creative nonfiction. That's very important, no? That you be true to those characters. No? So, and I'm careful about that, that I don't reveal things about them that I feel are unfair to them. So with nonfiction, if I'm going to write about them, I show them what I've written before I publish it. Fiction is different because these are characters I invent. But my standard is, my rule for myself is tell the truth. The truth as you know it. It may upset some people, it may produce contempt in others, it might produce sympathy in some readers. I'm hoping the latter outnumber the former. I write in good faith. Yan na lang.
Ayun. Mukha naman sa ating pag-uusap ay nakita ang kahalagahan ng babae at ang kanyang maglaban para sa sarili at para sa kapwa babae. At alalahanin natin yun ngayong Women's Month.
Yes, of course.
Yes, at kung hindi man kayo babae, bala kayo. Sana alalahanin nyo din to. At ipaglaban nyo ang mga hindi, ang mga babae.
Diba? At syempre, hindi natatapos sa Women's Month.
Nagulat si Jasper.
Nagulat Pero totoo yun At hindi natatapos sa Women's Month ang pagsa-celebrate at paglaban para sa mga kababaihan. At lahat na ng naisasantabi. Pero, dahil nga, time na. Ay, bago tayo magsara, shout out kay Norman Ralph Isla na nanonood sa ating Facebook Live. Mabuhay ka.
Salamat.
Yes.
Salamat.
Oo. Dahil nga binuksan natin ang ating